Previously on the Cozycast. I have big plans. I am going to attempt to be monogamous in crafting. Monogamous in crafting. When the Deadly Aquarium patterns drop, I'm able to stitch on those. Otherwise, the only project I'm going to be working on in June is Those Who Wait. And now, yeah, the monogamy thing didn't really work out so great for me. Good morning, Starshines. My name is DH. My pronouns are they, them, and this is the Cozycast, episode 9. Last week, or last podcast, which was 2 weeks ago, I made some pretty big plans for June. None of which turned out. I really should have known. One of my dear friends, I asked her what the under-over was on how long I'd be able to hold up the monogamy thing. She said she didn't place a bet, but she figured about a week, and I made it 9 days. So, I tried it. It's not for me. I need to hop around from project to project. I'm still trying to figure out like what's going to be the best rotation for my brain, but basically I need different types of stitching, and just working on one thing is, unless I'm hyper focused on it in an ADHD hyperfixation way, I'm just going to resent working on it. So, and I didn't want that to happen with this piece, so I decided to bring some other stuff into the rotation. So, my original plan was for the month of June, I was only going to work on Those Who Wait once I got the new Ada in. So I did get the new Ada in. I have been working on it. I did make quite a bit of progress. So here we are on Those Who Wait. So this is a piece by Stitch Wit. It's going to be huge even on this 18 count. But basically the quote is, "Good things come to those who wait," and you can start to see the design coming through. So I'm really happy with this. I'm really enjoying working it on the 18 count. I'm getting much better coverage with the, come on, focus. Do you need to cover my face? Okay. Well, I'm getting much better coverage with the dark navy than I was on the 14 count. So I restarted this on 18 count Ivory Zweigart, and yeah, it's going really well so far. As you can see, I've been kind of like gridding, but not really gridding, but kind of breaking the pattern up into smaller chunks than just doing these huge rows of Danish style stitching, because I think that was part of what was getting me down, was it was taking so long to do each row that I wasn't seeing progress rapidly enough for my brain to be happy about it. Anyways, but here it is. I am continuing to work on it. I am going to continue to work on it because I'm really happy with this piece, and I cannot wait to see it all come together. So yeah, so that's Those Who Wait. So my plan was originally to work on only that during the month of June. I'm not doing that. As you can see, I have several other cross stitch pieces on the go, but my other plan was to work on the Usagi sweater by Harper B. I haven't gotten a lot done on this since the last podcast because I've been really in a cross stitch groove, which is okay. I did finish one sleeve. So there we have one completed sleeve, and I've cast on the body. I've done about 3 inches of the body, the front anyways. So yeah, just plugging away on that. I've just been really into cross stitch lately, and haven't really felt the urge to knit, but I do want to get back to it because it is for a friend of mine, and I would like her to have it before before too long. Yeah, let's just say. So really happy with that, but I just haven't been feeling the knitting bug, which is okay. It happens. So while I was in the clutches of monogamy and I was trying to power through on those who wait, I had the most intense urge to start all of the new things. Because I wasn't allowing myself to start anything new. So I finally gave in and I was like, okay, I am not going to start anything new. I finally gave in and I said, okay, I can start new stuff. I can work on old whips. I'm not doing the monogamy thing anymore. I'm just giving myself like free reign to work on whatever feels good. So of course, immediately, the urge to start something new faded for about 24 hours. And then I started something new. But I think I'm jumping ahead of myself. Yeah. Okay. Let's keep going with whips. So the other whip that I pulled out after I abandoned my monogamy was the Tangled Garden. I spoke about this very briefly in the last podcast, but I did a conversion using Pick-to-Pat of my favorite piece of art, which is the Tangled Garden by J.H. MacDonald. And I was really happy with the conversion that I got, so I started stitching it up. And here it is. So this is, so far, what you can see. I'm going to put up the picture of the mock-up here, so you can kind of see where I'm at. I'm in the center section doing that large sunflower. I just kind of moved into the middle because that seemed like fun. I'm going to talk more about the techniques that I'm using in this one in a little bit, but right now, so this, I did up the pattern with Pick-to-Pat. I'm using 16 count pre-gridded Zweigart and just DMC floss. It's about 46 colors, I believe, 46 or 50 colors, which is not too terrible for a first full coverage piece. And this is going to be my very first like legit full coverage piece, and I'm very, very excited about it. And I know that this kind of pattern, because I did the computer generated pattern and I didn't clean it up at all, in terms of like pixel by pixel, I did clean it up in terms of color usage, then it's going to, there's going to be a lot more confetti than there would be otherwise. I did clean it up in terms of the colors used, because most conversions tend to make things like darker and more drab. So I brightened up some of the greens, and instead of black, I'm using dark browns. And then I lightened up some of the browns as well. So I just kind of took my experience with certain colors like 801 and 3371 and plugged those into the pattern in the places where I wanted to kind of lighten the palette a little bit. So I did make those kinds of changes, and I also combined two colors. Like there were a couple colors that only had, you know, 2 or 3 stitches in them, and I could just combine those with other similar colors so that I wouldn't have to find and stitch just a couple of strands. But I'm really, really happy with this. I absolutely love it. It's a completely different stitching experience for me. So here it is again, just so you can see what we're talking about. I haven't used pre-gridded Zweigart before. I haven't used pre-gridded Ada before. And using the pre-gridded turns it into a very different kind of stitch. Instead of kind of like wildly flinging myself into the abyss and hoping that I counted right, it's more like plugging puzzle pieces in to, you know, those like puzzles that have the shapes on the board and you just put the pieces in where the shapes go. It's more like that. It's like pop, 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 pop. And I can just do that in a 10 by 10 grid. I never have to count more than 5 stitches in any direction. And it's just like in this box, I, you know, pop my stitches in where they go, and it's very satisfying. Like, I thought it would be a little bit stressful, you know, having so much confetti and having such large space between each stitch, but the grid makes it fun, very fun. I don't think I would do another large project like this without gridding. And I took that realization, and when I moved over to this whip, you can kind of see I started marking off the grid, because this is also, it isn't technically full coverage because there's an outline, but within the outline it is full coverage. There aren't very many blank spaces. So I just gridded off the spaces within the piece. So even if my heat transferable removable pen doesn't completely remove, it will be stitched over. So I'm happy with that. The other thing I was doing with Tangled Garden is I am doing, pretty much exclusively English. So there are two styles of cross-stitching, two major styles. Danish is the one where you do one leg across a row, and then you do the second leg coming back. Whereas English is you create each X individually. And I did nothing but Danish for the longest time. I didn't really realize English was an option, because I hadn't done much research into cross stitch as a hobby. I was just doing what I had learned as a kid. So for this one, I've been doing almost exclusively English. With the sunlight, you can see the back. The back looks like a constellation because I'm embracing chaos stitching. That's my method for this one. It's chaos stitching. I'm kind of just stitching one or two colors at a time. I'm going to fill in this general area before moving. I'm not going to like try and do a color finish across the entire piece or anything like that. I'm just doing chaos stitching. But doing it the English method with the grid became really satisfying because I could just like fill each pixel up individually, like just boop, 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 boop. So I'm really enjoying that, and it's making it a very like enjoyable stitch in a different way, because this is a lot of Danish. It's a lot of straight lines. This is a lot of English. So they're both big projects, but they're very on small count, but they're very, very different. And I'm really much enjoying that. So I did speak a little bit about this one. This is Kyrie and Sora. So let's see if I can, and this is just a very small part of it. So this is Kyrie and Sora from Needleminder's Lair. And this is the piece that kind of got me back into cross-stitching. So it's been in the hoop for way too long, and I would like to get it finished. And what I did, and what's kind of like brought me back to it, because every time I come back to it, I'm really enjoying it, but then I get quite frustrated. So I took what I've been learning about my personal stitching style from, you know, the contrasting between Those Who Wait and Tangled Garden, and I came back to this one. So I took the gridding system from Tangled Garden, and then I started doing more of it English. So you can see that there's large chunks of color. So like this bit I did Danish because it made sense. However, the smaller leaves, I started doing English and just doing them like in little clumps and finishing one motif before moving on to the next one, and then finishing one motif and moving on to the next one. And it's really made it quite an enjoyable stitch. I don't get frustrated with it as much. And I really just want to see this come together. So I'm working on this quite a bit more. Like, this is kind of my main focus project now. If I don't know what I'm going to work on, I work on this. I've only got, so this is like the lower section. I've only got two more colors in this section, 732 and 3371 or 939. It's a dark brown and like an olive green. So I'm going to finish those up, and then I'm going to move the hoop, and then I'm just going to do the same thing where I'm going to like mark out a section and completely fill that section in before moving over. I'm at 57% of the way through this project, which doesn't seem right because I feel like I've done more than 57%, but most of it is in this ground section, which I haven't touched at all. So yeah, so that's the whips. No, there's one more whip. This episode's all over the place. I apologize. I do have notes. I take notes. I don't read my notes. But before we continue, it's time to hydrate. Okay. Recapping. Monogamy, failure. Those who wait, love it, doing mostly Danish. Tangle Garden, also love it, doing it mostly English. Kyrie, doing a combination of the two styles, absolutely adoring it, and really want to keep that in the main rotation for a long time. So I only have, you might have noticed that some of these are in hoops and some of them are in frames. I only have 2 8-inch frames, which are my favorite frames to use, so like the square Q snaps. However, I have several smaller wooden hoops that I originally got for framing, but I've just started using them as hoops. I think I'm going to pick up a few more 8-inch hoops because I'm finding that I'm actually enjoying using them. An 8-inch seems to be a good size. I do have a 12-inch hoop, which 12-inch frame, which I'm going to show you in a second, which is just way too big. It's working well for what I'm using it for right now, but it's way too big to stitch on comfortably. So before I was kind of limiting myself to only having 2 active whips because I only had the 2 frames. But since I've started using hoops, that has resulted in this stack of active whips. So I do have some hibernating whips, which are not currently in a hoop or a frame. I don't like moving things around very much, so I am very resistant to taking things out of a frame if it doesn't need to be. But the advent of hoops for me has been why I suddenly have so many more active whips. So the last active whip, today is Saturday, by the way. It's Saturday, June the 15th. Which means that Exhibit 4 of the Deadly Aquarium came out yesterday. Last time I filmed, Exhibit 2 had just come out. So I'm on track. I'm keeping up. So this is my 12-inch frame. And because I do most of my stitching at my desk, like holding the frame, the reason that I find this uncomfortable to stitch with is because I have to like reach around it to the back. Anyways, this is Deadly Aquarium. I am pretty much caught up. The news clue came out yesterday, so I obviously have not had time to finish that, but as you can see, I finished part of it. So Exhibit 1 was the moray eel. Exhibit 2 was the puffer and then the bull kelp. Exhibit 3 was this beautiful fire coral, which was a mind-bending stitch because it's not really confetti, but it's not really like color blocks either. It was difficult to keep track of. Like, it was my eyes were crossing and I was doing so much counting and recounting and there was so much frogging involved, but I finished it. It looks great. And then Exhibit 4, which just came out, is Deadly Spine. So we've got an I'm Obnoxious, a lionfish, and a stonefish, and then there's some sea lettuce here. So I did call this as a stonefish, but I'm really happy because it's like a bright purple stonefish, and I love him. I've already finished the I'm Obnoxious, which is not the name of the fish, it's just what we call it in our house. And I've decided that for this one, instead of doing all the backstitching at the end, I'm going to finish each fish individually because there's like there's 3 fish and a sea lettuce. I'm going to finish each one individually, including the backstitch, so that they're like all self-contained motifs. I'm probably going to stitch on this like exclusively until the clue's finished because that's apparently just how I roll. This is the Lola Crow Deadly Aquarium stitch along, by the way. I don't know if I said that. We get a new exhibit every week, except next week we have a week off, so there's no new exhibit. So I'm probably going to finish this like tomorrow. It's also the smallest exhibit so far. I'm probably going to finish this like tomorrow, and then I won't have anything to work on for like 2 weeks for this. So it'll go back into hibernation, and I will get some work done on some other stuff. But even though we have a bunch of time before the next exhibit, I still want to finish it like right away. So that is so that is 1, 2, 3, 4 active whips and a new start. Because like I said, as soon as I gave myself permission to start something new, I immediately lost the urge to start something new. I do have quite an extensive queue. This is my queue in Notion. It's got a lot of cool stuff in it, especially because we belong to the Witchy Stitcher Patreon and the Mama Witch Patreon. And then Mama Witch was hosting a little contest on her Instagram, where if you correctly guessed the animals that were in her latest piece, you got a free pattern. Toot and I correctly guessed. It was mostly Toot because the animals were a Tasmanian devil and an aardvark, and then I wasn't sure if it was koala or a quokka. I was leaning quokka. Toot was leaning koala. I went koala. It was a koala, so we won. So thank you, Toot, for that. So we got a free pattern out of that. So yeah, there have been many things that I immediately want to start. This mermaid, for example, I've already cut the 8 of 4. I absolutely love her. This is a Mama Witch pattern. I'm going to recolor it, and instead of these shades of like pinky salmon, I'm going to do purple for the body of the mermaid, and then I'm going to keep the reds for the mushrooms. So that is going to start very, very soon. But I did actually end up with a new start, and this is the Lovers from Witchy Stitcher's Nostalgic Tarot series. Witchy Stitcher just released the sneak peek for the 6th card. Yeah, the 6th card, which I'm thinking is the Hermit. That's my guess for it. So far, she has released the Fool, the Empress, Death, the Lovers, and Justice. Justice. Please forget I said that. But it's stuck in my head. Every time the word justice comes up, I have to say it like Batman. So this is the Lovers, which is my absolute favorite, as you can tell, because it's got aliens in it. And it's Lisa Frank aliens. I mean, sorry, nostalgic retro aliens. We're not saying Lisa Frank because that would be, you know, copyright issues. It's nostalgic retro. I started this, it's 14 count Black Ada, and there's just something about working on 14 count Black Ada that felt like coming home. It was a really like, not nostalgic, because it's like nostalgic for a few months ago, but I did so many pieces on Black Ada, and then I've been experimenting with other types of Ada since then, that this just really felt like going back to basics for me. And I really enjoyed it. I actually only worked on this for 1 day. So this is the first day of progress, and I will get back to it. I just, as you can see, I got distracted by other stuff. I did have one other new start, which also ended up being a new finish, but I'm not going to show it to you guys right now because it is the freebie for July for my coffee shop. So you guys will see it probably in the next Cozycast, and I'll be posting it July 1st in the shop. But it's super cute, and I'm really happy with it, and I think you will like it. So I designed, stitched, and finished that one in the last 2 weeks as well. And I've got plans to do a few more shop samples because I've got so many designs now, and I don't have stitch samples for all of them. I would love to have stitch samples for more of them, so I'm going to try and do at least the small ones that I can kind of shoot out a little bit quicker. The Pride pronoun pin that Toot stitched up for me was fantastic, and I'm so grateful to her for doing that so quickly, because I was able to not only release the freebie but also do a video, and just, it was great. But I can't rely on Toot for all of my shop samples, because she has her own extensive queue and she's a monogamous stitcher, so I can really heck up her plans if I throw more stuff at her. So yeah, that's those are all the projects. So we've got, what was the count again? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 active cross stitch whips, 1 active knitting whip. We're not talking about the hibernating whips. We're not talking about the hibernating whips. And I'm still kind of playing with techniques. I have decided to make no more plans for the month of June. I'm just going on vibes, stitching what feels good. I don't have deadlines on anything. I mean, even the Deadly Aquarium, it has a release schedule, but that's not a deadline. So if I didn't finish it, I don't finish it, that's fine. So I'm trying to relax and just kind of enjoy crafting what I want to craft. I was kind of getting up in my head about the most efficient way to stitch. Like the most efficient route, the best way, like which project I can finish the fastest and that kind of thing. And even like when it came down to stitching, like which method of stitching would use the fewest amount, the least amount of floss, or cover the least amount of distance. And I was getting really like stuck in that inability to start just stitching because I was over planning. So I'm trying to let go of a lot of that and just embracing the chaos stitch. Tangle Garden has been helping a lot with that, because it definitely, some combination of the English plus the confetti plus the gridding is just making my brain go burr. It's fantastic. So I'm really super enjoying that. But yeah, and then I applied that to Kyrie. I'm really enjoying Kyrie. By the way, Kingdom Hearts just came to Steam, so if you've been waiting for it to come to PC, good luck. Enjoy. We already have it for PlayStation. We have it on the Switch. We have it on the PlayStation. We have the physical copies of the older games. Are we still tempted to get it on Steam? Yes, we are. Have I ever actually played a Kingdom Hearts game? No, I have not. However, I have watched Toot play many, many Kingdom Hearts games over the course of our marriage. And then before that, my bestie, who I lived with in college, also played a ton of the Kingdom Hearts games. And I watched them play a ton of Kingdom Hearts. Speaking of my bestie, we're moving on to community news now. And I'm very happy to announce that my best friend just graduated college. Yay! I'm so incredibly proud of them. And I got to watch their convocation live through YouTube live stream, and it was great. I teared up. It was fantastic, and I'm so incredibly happy for them, and I'm so incredibly proud of them. So yeah, that was my little bit of community news. In other community news, streams are going well. We had another Design With Me stream. We also had another stream with our good friend Moonfaced, which was so much fun. We're going to try and do those on a regular basis. Community seems to really enjoy them, and I really enjoy them as well. There are new patterns up in the shop, including a needlebook, and the needlebook pattern also includes a tutorial on how to construct a needlebook. So go and check that out. It's available on the Etsy and the coffee shop. I could go into more details on everything that I've been adding to the stores, but I won't. Please check them out. I would appreciate it. Even if you don't purchase something, please follow and like the stuff, because that helps us be seen by more people. As always, I have the suggestion box down in the comments, so if there is a video that you'd like to see, a stream that you'd like us to do, a pattern that you'd like to see me design, anything like that, you can pop it in the suggestion box. I may not get to every suggestion, but I am so incredibly grateful for your feedback. All right, chronic health update. I didn't do one of these last podcast because honestly, I just wasn't really up to talking about it. And there's been really no news. I've got an upcoming appointment with my doctor this week. We're going to discuss kind of next steps, med changes, possible changes. So I might have more news for you guys next time, but I'm keeping on. My migraines have gotten better since I've learned to recognize some of the triggers. However, I'm still pretty much at the mercy of the weather and hormones and I don't know what phase of the moon it is. Migraines, man. Still dealing with the fatigue. I am working on getting up the energy to be able to go for short walks. I've been able to get down to the lobby of the building several times, which has been nice. But just the act of walking from our condo to the elevator and from the elevator to the front door is often a lot. If that gives you an idea of kind of where my physical state of being is. So I'm working on it. I'm trying to get there. I would really like to be able to walk to the library. The library is about a 10-minute walk away. We've also got a mall about 10 minutes in the other direction. So either one of those I would really like to be able to walk to comfortably, but not quite there yet. But we're working on it. We'll get there. So yeah, so that's been the chronic health update. If anything changes, I will absolutely let you guys know. Alright guys, this has been the Cozycast. Thank you so much for joining me again. Right about now, you should be seeing some buttons popping up around my head. If you hit this one, you'll subscribe to the channel. Hit one of these. You will be linked to another one of my Cozycasts or another random video that you will probably enjoy. Please watch them. I think you will enjoy them. Otherwise, I will see you in the Discord. I will see you in the comments below. I will see you on Twitch. I'll see you in the live streams. But most importantly, I will see you in my heart. All right. Bye, guys. Bye-bye.